Hello, grade 12s. Welcome back to the channel, Science Therapy, hosted by the one and only science therapist, Uabutiwa Sos Ukobela Wemets. And in today's lesson, we are looking at a question on functions. So without any further ado, let's just get right down to it. Okay, so we have question 4 and it says given f of x is equal to 6 over x plus 2 minus 1. And then we can tell from that this is a hyperbola function, right? Then we already know the questions to expect there. 4.1 says write down the equations of the asymptote of f. So we know that our asymptotes are the horizontal asymptote and the vertical asymptote. So for the vertical asymptote, we only take this here equated to 0. And then now it's going to give us x is equals to negative 2. So our equations would look like this. X is equals to negative 2 and y is equals to negative 1. So this being the vertical asymptote and this being the horizontal asymptote. Now 4.2 says calculate the y-intercept of f. So this is also one of the questions that we always expect when it comes to hyperbola functions. So we have our formula here. It's y is equals to 6 over x plus 2 minus 1. Then to calculate the y-intercept, we know that we must make x 0. So we just go y is equals to 6. And then in the position of x, we substitute 0 here. And then minus 1. So we have the 0 plus 2. So 6 divided by 2, that's 3. 3 minus 1, that's equals to 2. So our y-intercept is 2. So writing it in coordinate form, that 0 is to 2. Now the next question is asking us to calculate the x-intercept. So for the x-intercept, we know that we make y 0. So we're just going to go here and say 6 over x plus 2 minus 1, then equate that to 0. Then the first thing that we need to do, take the number here, transpose it over to the right-hand side. Then we have equal 1, cross multiply here, so we'll get 6 is equals to x plus 2. Then we can calculate our value for x by taking this 2 over to the side. So that 6 minus 2 is equals to x. Then our x is definitely equals to 4. So in coordinates form, that's 4 is to 0. So that's how you were just supposed to calculate the x and the y-intercept for that equation. Now, let's proceed to the next question. 4.3 says, sketch the graph of f showing clearly the asymptote and the intercept of the axis, right? So we know for that one, we need to gather up our information. So number one, we know that the equations of the asymptote were x is equals to negative 2 and also y is equals to negative 1. Then we had our y-intercept. It was equals to 0 is to 2, and then our x-intercept was 4 is to 0. So that's what we need in order to draw the sketch for this graph here, right? Then clearly show all the asymptotes and the intercept with the axis. So we have that, and then we obviously going to start with our Cartesian plane. One thing that I always like to do when drawing the sketch is to start with the asymptote. So you want to do that. So that's x is equals to negative 2. We're going to have our asymptote, our vertical asymptote going vertically like that, crossing over here. And then we have our horizontal asymptote, y is equals to negative 1. Crossing over here. Now, we know that since our a is greater than 0, the general shape that we should have is something like this in the first and the third quadrant. So now, to draw our sketch, let's start plotting the intercept with the axis. We have 0:2. So there we go. And then we have 4:0. So we can indicate it here. Let's add 4. Then we have it there. Now joining this 2, we will have our graph like that. So not the best graph out there, but then hoping you get the point. Then obviously for the other part, you're just going to draw it freely here. Then your shape should be something like that. So let me just try to make it smooth there. And then, yeah, that's how you were supposed to have your graph. So you have clearly shown all the intercept with the axis. So you can even go there and label them. This is 0:2. And then this is 4:0. Then we have the equations of the asymptotes here. That's y is equals to -1. And then here we have x is equals to -2. Right. So just like that, you have clearly shown all the intercept with the axis and you have clearly shown all the asymptotes. So that's how you were supposed to sketch this for a total of 3 marks. So note how I went about with that one. Start with the asymptote and then go ahead, plot your intercept with the axis, then just join to form that curve there. Okay, so let's proceed to the next question. 4.4 says determine the equation of the line of symmetry of f that has a negative gradient. Leave your answer in the form of y is equals to, so we know it should be in the form of a straight line. Y is equals to mx plus c. Now for this one, we use this method that is commonly known as the Baas method, whereby we take this. But then since they said the one with the negative gradient, we must remember to put this one inside the bracket and have our negative outside here. So having to write this in that form, we will say for 4.4, we have y is equals to, so we just replace f of x by y, and then we put our negative here in bracket x plus 2 and then minus 1. So that's how you determine the equation of the line of symmetry that has a negative gradient. So now we have negative times x, that's negative x, negative times positive 2, that's negative 2, then minus 1. So you have y is equals to negative x minus 3, right? So just like that, you have found your solution. So that's how you were supposed to tackle that question, guys. So please press the thumbs up button if you have enjoyed the lesson and you have found it helpful. And also do not forget to subscribe if you have been watching the videos and haven't subscribed yet. But most importantly, please share the link with your friends and classmates so that they may also find assistance. Remember, do not be selfish. We are winning as a team.